So the idea is this. You produce a bunch of power on top of your house from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. All the power you don't use gets sold back to the grid. Essentially, the utilities work like a credit piggy bank, right? And you're taking from and adding to on a consistent basis. Not all utilities allow for net metering. California just shut theirs down, but Florida has that in the majority of their jurisdictions. The funny thing is that all of the clips that he's going to be bringing out from people who are really, really mad about solar, and you know where they were filmed? Georgia! That's like making a video where someone gets a Tesla on a deserted island where there are no chargers and everyone just keeps complaining that the car isn't running. Well, there's no chargers for the car there, so yeah, it's not gonna work out. Hi there, Carlos of Real Sales Dynamics. Normally you'd see me knocking doors right now selling solar to wonderful customers all over the state of Florida. Today, our video is gonna be a little bit different. You see, there's a fellow by the name of Jake Tran who's made his entire career off of exposing the terrible things that corporations and governments have been doing to people all across the entire globe. I've been a bit of a fan. A lot of his videos have been great and they've taught me a lot of things. Unfortunately, he kind of went the other way with this video, and it's called Home Solar Panels Are Literally a Scam. In it, he ends up giving out a lot of the same talking points as the CEOs of multinational, multi-millionaire utility companies, which are trying to hurt homeowners by raising their rates year after year after year after year. And a lot of the information we're going to be going over today, a rudimentary Google search will demonstrate to you that he's wrong, but sometimes you just got to make a reaction video. So let's see just how much he does badly here.
Looking to save on utility costs for your business or home? Consider solar energy.
These customers are mad.
I feel stupid, and it's kind of like my own stupidity. I should have did a little more research.
We now have $70,000 worth of trash on our roof.
So how much is Lee paying?
$203.50 a month.
For how long?
For until I'm 60 years old, so 30 years.
It's absolutely false. Everything they tell you is a lie.
He starts the video off without much context at all, basically just saying that people were lying to customers about how solar works, and then showing door knockers, and then he immediately jumps into an ad.
It has been out of control. Basic things like gas and groceries are becoming really expensive. And with the threat of blackouts in California or energy rationing going on in Europe, not being dependent on the grid seems like a no-brainer. People want to feel safe, they want to save money, and they want to feel in control of their lives.
Do you find yourself scrolling solar videos all over the entire internet? Maybe you're in solar right now and you're lacking the type of training that you're seeing on Real Sales Dynamics. Or maybe you're just that lone mortgage broker, car sales guy, or Walmart employee who's looking to make a major change in their life for the better. Well, we have a solution for you. Right now, we have a couple slots open for a solar boot camp. One going on in San Diego, California, and another one going on in Tampa, Florida. Click the submission below to see if there's any slots left. See you guys there.
And if they can do that while saving the environment, I mean, who wouldn't? So here's what you gotta do if you wanna cash in on this golden opportunity. Door-to-door solar sales. Now, door-to-door sales may sound intimidating and outdated. Are people really gonna spend this much money with a stranger that just randomly knocks on their door? Surprisingly, yes. Especially when you consider all the clever tactics that we can use when we're face-to-face with the mark.
So he starts off the video by making you afraid of door-to-door salesmen. How would anyone trust those people? Well, he's using the internet. And when the internet first started, the people who were actually selling it were door-to-door salesmen. The same for cable, the same for dish, the same for alarms, the same for pest. In fact, most products get their start as a first-generation sales product door to door because you need people actively out there marketing for your product in order to gain mass adoption.
The key to door-to-door solar sales is that you do not want to look like a typical door-to-door salesman. You want to dress like a government employee or someone from the utility company, like many of these sketchy solar companies do. That way, you lower their guard down. You get them to not slam the door in your face. And once the door is open, you tell them that you're here to make a very official assessment of your home, so they need to let you into their house. And once you're in their house, you pretend to do a very careful assessment of their home to see if it's fit for solar.
Okay, that's called a site assessment. Yes, you actually do need to check their electric panel to see if it's the correct amperage for solar panels. Yes, you need to check how much shading is going on. Yes, you need to see if their air conditioner is really old, if it needs to get replaced in order to make sure you don't have to put too many solar panels on top of their house. That's called being a professional. Something he doesn't know a lot about, and we'll see more of that in the video.
You want to take whatever they're typically paying for electricity and then structure the loan for the solar panels in a way where it's slightly cheaper than the current electricity bill. So if your market is currently paying $200 a month in electricity, you structured the loan in a way so they only have to pay $150 a month for their shiny new solar panels. But what they don't realize is that just like how a sleazy car salesman fudges the numbers to get your monthly car payment down, sure, the monthly payments are lower, but now instead of paying off the car in 6 years, you're maybe stuck paying off the loan for 10 to 15 years, and you're gonna end up paying way more interest than before. Once you have that low monthly payment in hand, that's when you can fake your surprise and say that, wow, you definitely qualify for solar. And look, we set it up in a way where you're going to be paying less than what you're paying right now for your electricity bill. And the great thing is that since you're going to be harvesting so much energy from the sun, your electricity bill is going to go to near zero.
Here's where this analogy falls flat. He's bringing up that in car sales, if you decide to take on a higher payment amount for 6 years, you end up paying less interest than on a loan of 10 to 15 years. He's absolutely correct, but it's not a fair comparison. You see, the thing about a utility bill is it always goes up and it never ends. There's not a defined time. So let's say you have a $200 bill, right? 200 bucks. You times that by 1.12. So that means next year it's going to be 224.
Then 250, 280, 314.
352. So you just went from $200 to $352 over the course of 5 years. There's areas in Texas where the utilities went up 40% in 2 months, right? Let's just go ahead and extend that over the course of 25 years. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so instead of you spending $200 for your utility bill, now you're going to spend $1,722 a month for your utilities in 25 years. Or you can have a loan payment of $150. Which one sounds better to you?
Nearly double the kilowatt.
Then the energy efficiency, you would have to decrease annual energy use by, that is nearly double the EPA estimate, can be accomplished with more extensive home installation. Okay. All right, so on this portion on 506, he's doing a little screen cap where it's showing that a customer got 74% offset, which means they didn't cover 100% of their current electricity. And then it's stating that it would be really difficult for a homeowner to offset that amount of power. Well, yeah, that's why you sign up a customer with 100% offset. So again, he's bringing up examples which are not normal. Anyway.
Selling your extra electricity back to the grid, your property value is going to go up. After all, according to Zillow, solar panels do increase the resale value of your home by as much as 4%, so it must be true. And you'll even get a giant tax credit from Uncle Sam as a lump sum check that you'll get in the mail for going solar. And after throwing all these complicated numbers around, you then wow your customers with big name success stories, like how Power Home Solar installed solar panels for the Ford Stadium in Detroit, the only football stadium to be powered completely by solar. That is another complete lie, by the way. There are no solar panels in Ford Stadium.
You know, he was talking about Power Home Solar and Ford Field having these solar panels, which I don't know if they really do, but they sold me on it.
And what good sales pitch is complete without some good old scarcity? Once your pitch is done, you gotta pressure the homeowners to sign on the dotted line today without seeing a sample contract.
So now he's bringing up the issue of talking about scarcity in your pitch. He has made a living off of fear tactics and scaring everyone that the world is completely declining and everyone is screwing you over. Okay? So if we're going to fear tactics in that situation, I think it's the pot calling the kettle black. Also, bringing up scarcity is real. If you went solar with me 2 years back, you would have had a 1% interest rate rather than a 4% interest rate that we're having currently. So yes, the people who waited not only had to spend significantly more on their utility bills over the course of the last 2 years, but also ended up having to spend more long-term over the course of this next 25 years. At least mine's factual.
We'll always sign. And boom, you just made an easy $10,000 per home. There's a reason why solar sales is known as one of the best sales jobs out there, where an ambitious salesperson can easily make a couple $1 million a year in commission.
This is really funny. He just posts $10,000 per home as if that's the national average that people make on commissions per deal. It's not, and depending on the region, it could be significantly less than that, which is why it might be better for you to be working in areas in which the utility rates are a little bit higher. That's why we work in places like Florida, Texas, and California, for instance. And then he follows it up by saying, people can easily make millions of dollars a year selling solar. I train people, I coach people, I run a solar company, right? I do all these things. It's not that easy, right? Nothing is that easy in the world. But in order to orchestrate this vision that there's these evil door-to-door sales guys who are making millions after millions, he needs to make sure that he makes us look as bad as humanly possible doing it.
This really is. But then it will
The first way homeowners get royally screwed are in the markups. Like most solar companies, you're actually reselling panels from another manufacturer. This allows you to jack up the price by 2 or even 3 times the MSRP. Next is in those energy savings you promised them. Imagine the shock when customers find out that not only has their energy bill stayed the same, but now they have to pay these loan payments for the panels on top of their existing electricity bill. And this is no small amount of money either.
Yes, if you technically buy solar panels yourself, you can go ahead and jump up on your roof, pull the permits for it, put in the petition with the utility company, and get all these things done. It could take you 6 months to a year potentially, who knows? Just depends on your skill set. In the same way that you can replace your own head gasket rather than paying a mechanic. Now you may end up screwing up along the way while doing it and ends up costing you more than if you just went to a mechanic yourself. It's kind of a similar situation with solar. So with solar, you can be as involved or not involved as you'd possibly like, and either way, it comes with a cost. It's just how things work.
$35,000. And if you want to have extra electricity at night or during cloudy weather when the panels aren't working, then you're going to need to install a battery, which is another $9,000. And those conveniently small monthly payments the salesman was able to arrange, well, the interest rate on most solar loans is 8 to 9%, which if you do the math, the average time it takes to pay off that loan is at least 6 to 10 years. And those already marked up $35,000 solar panels, yeah, with that kind of loan, you're going to end up paying closer to maybe $50,000.
Again, you do not need battery backup in order to have power at night. You're taking energy back from the grid. You sell energy during the day back to the utilities, then you get a credit back and that covers you at nighttime. You do not need battery backup on every single one of these houses. This is just a ridiculous assertion. By the way, the interest rate on solar loans is not usually 8 to 9%. It's anywhere between 2 and 4%, but keep going.
That's on the low end. There are many cases out there where people get stuck with loans of up to $70,000 or more.
Your bill, like, last year at this time was like $103 or something like that?
Yes.
And now what is it?
$105.
She's also strapped with a loan that with interest adds up to more than $70,000 for her power home solar setup.
He signed up with Solar Titan USA, spending more than $71,000 because he thought it would reduce his power bill by as much as 90%.
One of the big things he's missing here is the problem with utilities. Any utility can decide to turn on net metering, first off, in which case these customers would be in significantly better situations as a whole, but they don't want to. Do you know who has oodles of money, has been exploiting people for decades? Utility companies. Go ahead and do some research on Enron. Now, in the state of Florida, back in 2019, we switched over from coal to natural gas, costing about $853 million, which is paid off by, not by shareholders, but by customers of those utilities, to make everything more green. And what happened as a result is that from 2019 to then, natural gas prices have went up 300%. To the point where there were people, right? Where there were people in Hillsborough County, the county I'm in right now, who are spending 12% of their monthly income just on their electricity bills. No one voted on it, but they went ahead and passed it. And who did that make richer? The utility companies. Right? So if you're talking about the real devil in the room, it's them, not the people, trying to empower people by being able to provide power directly on top of their house. There is an energy deficit, and this is helping.
And that lump sum check you were promised you would get in the mail? Yeah, that was a lie too.
But none of the customers we talked to got this supposed check.
Told us there's a $23,000 rebate to spend how we wanted to, but there is no rebate.
It is true that the federal government does offer a 26% tax credit, but there's a key phrase there. It's a tax credit, which means you need enough taxable income for it to even make a difference. Which also means if you get a tax refund from the IRS every year, you do not qualify.
So the next part he's hitting here is about the tax credit. Do you know why I know he didn't do any real research? Because the video that he's taking everything from about Georgia residents mentions the 26% tax credit. Do you know what it is today? 30%. So he's even getting the tax credit percentages wrong. And yes, it is based off of the taxable income that you have then and there. But you do not need to get that full tax credit in the first year. Let's say it's a $10,000 tax credit. You're paying $2,000 of federal income taxes per year. You can take that off over the course of 5, 6, 7 years. It doesn't matter, but that money is going to go back in your pocket rather than going back to the feds, who he says are corrupt, evil, child philanderers. Well, okay, then take money away from them. I love YouTube because you can just say things as if it's factual when there's no facts on it whatsoever. Now he's going to show some real estate agent who's against solar. Weird.
In the first place.
Solar panels are great for long-term savings. They're an investment, but please take it from a real estate professional. They do not add value to your home equal to their cost most of the time.
And if you lease this...
So I love phrases like this, most of the time. It's like probably. He's not basing it on any facts. He's basing it on his feelings on the matter, because solar is kind of complicated, and he's a real estate agent. And we should definitely trust real estate agents because they're very well vouched and certified. Okay, so the thing is that all the long-term studies that we've seen on solar raising the equity in people's homes, it does do just that. So again, he's just trusting the experts that he claims he's against in order to parrot the words of the utility companies. You better watch out, real estate guy, because Jake Tran's definitely going to make a video on how real estate's a scam next.
Solar panels, it actually damages your property value.
Does a solar lease increase your home's value? No, it does not. You do not own the solar panels. You are merely purchasing your electricity from the company, leasing them to you. It might even hurt your home's value.
Actually, guess.
Again, it might, probably. I don't know, maybe.
Once your victims do sign on the dotted line, then they're gonna have to wait a long time before the panels get installed, or even turn on, and they might already be making loan payments before that even happens.
Okay, do you know why it takes a long time for some systems to get installed depending on the state? The government and utility companies, which can make it a pain in the ass in order to get those things actually installed. Do you think solar companies who are supposedly scamming people, right, out of millions of dollars, are just sitting around going, you know, at some point I'm gonna get to that solar install, but I don't wanna make a quick buck right now. I'm thinking maybe I do in about 4 months. No, the reason that it's taking forever is because of regulations which make it difficult. And depending on the certain areas, places like Miami, where it costs us $3,500 just to pull a permit to put solar on someone's house, the costs become incredibly substantial. The reason why it's taking a long time to get these systems turned on is not because the solar company doesn't want it to, it's because the utilities are dragging their butts doing it because they don't want you to go solar. This is a governmental problem.
Done incorrectly due to just plain old incompetence. Things like panels facing north in a state with low sunshine. Or for no obvious reason, the panels might not end up working at all.
Only 6 of his 18 solar panels work.
It has more than a few horror stories of panels even catching fire. So of course your victims are gonna get angry about this.
More than a few horror stories. Okay, this is what this guy runs on, is literally more than a few. No, solar panels for the most part will never catch on fire. You know what can catch on fire? Your car. You should never drive your car, right? Your cell phone. That's also caught on fire in people's pockets. But if people stop using those, they're gonna stop watching these crappy videos, right? Things can happen, right? For the most part, our job as human beings is to try to figure out the best ways that we can do the things that we're doing. Now get out of here with these fear tactics.
Help.
I am frustrated and I want answers. She's like, it's your fault if you're getting an electric bill.
And if they try to break your contracts, you've got some fun little surprises waiting for them called power purchase agreements. Which means if your victims try to leave, they'll have to pay massive amounts of money. And
I like how he switched from loan to lease to power purchase agreements without talking about how any of these things are different. They're all different approaches to actually going solar. But he doesn't know any of those differences because he didn't bother to actually do any of the due diligence in order to figure that out. Think about who's in a better situation right now. The people I signed up 4 years ago, 18 cent per watt, price per kilowatt hour for their solar systems in San Diego, or the people who decided not to go solar and are spending 56 cents per kilowatt hour from 4 to 9. This isn't difficult to figure out.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why solar is one of the fastest growing industries out there. These companies are making $11 billion a year. Even smaller solar companies are expected to make $1 to $2 million a year after just a couple years of being in business. With the biggest companies in the space, like Sun Power Corp and First Solar, are each worth $2 to $3 billion each. But companies dying, or hooking his family members up with their own 6-figure incomes and luxury cars. But here's the thing, Power Home Solar is just a small, tiny fish in a giant pond of other home solar companies all scoring over average Americans.
Okay, I guess we're just going back to communist talking points. If we want to go that route, sure, coal and oil made trillions of dollars last year. So I'm just trying to figure out here, if you're doing a good service, should you be paid or should you not? If you want to be doing these fun numbers, let's just take Sempra Energy, right? Who's just one utility company of hundreds in the nation. They're worth $44.84 billion while increasing the utility bills of homeowners by 300% over the course of this last decade. All at the same time, shutting down net metering in the state of California, making it harder for people to actually lower their utility bills in the state. Which one's worse, Guy?
There are thousands of companies out there running these schemes, with new ones popping up all the time. They get up and running, swindle a bunch of people, then they get overwhelmed with lawsuits and then file for bankruptcy, only to rename, rebrand, and then pop up again somewhere else.
That Power Home Solar, one of the largest and fastest growing energy companies, is rebranding itself as Pink Energy.
At this point, state attorney generals across the country are stepping in, telling loan companies to stand down, to stop requiring payments from people who have fallen for this fraud.
Again, this is another old video, and the company's talking about has to do with the state of Georgia. There's 49 other states, Guy.
With all of this in mind, it's important to remember that this is not a knock on solar energy itself. Whatever your opinions on climate change are, fossil fuels will eventually run out. We will need to switch to renewables in some form or another. The key is doing this in a way that doesn't end up screwing people over. So the most important thing you can do is stay informed. There's a ton of information out there about home solar energy, how the process works, what strategies are the most cost effective, how well solar panels work in your region, and the real benefits your state and local governments offer to make going solar more affordable. Check those out if you're interested. Stay dangerous, and we'll see you in the next one.
So he ends the video with, Yeah, we said all these horrendous things about solar as a whole, but do your own research as to whether or not you should go solar. Never mind the fact that he didn't bother to do any research on how solar actually works whatsoever. Scares you for 99% of the entire video, then goes, well, but also I guess climate change and stuff like that is kind of a problem. So maybe go solar, but like, do your research. It's your job as a journalist to do research. More research than just, I found an old video of people getting scammed in a state that doesn't have any of the incentives to go solar that all of these other states do, but let's build an entire conspiracy against a product and against an entire industry as a whole, because screw it, it's a Monday, why not? And these are the type of fear tactics which will get lots of plays. And the reason I'm making this is, honestly, I'm going to take this video and I'm going to show it to customers if they ever bring it up. Because point by point by point by point, you can easily deconstruct every single thing he's saying. What he's using here is fear. Don't fall for it. And that's it for today, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. More door knocking videos are coming, I promise. If you like our content, make sure to click subscribe below. Click one of these two videos. I'm sure I'm selling someone.